Hello, this video is for in class on Tuesday. You're going to watch this video and fill in your note sheet as you go. I will be checking your note sheet for completion tomorrow. Okay, so we're going to review some steps to solving equations and literal equations. So first step is to locate the variable you are asked to solve for in the equation. Step two says identify the operations on this variable and the order in which they are applied. So think PEMDAS. And then step 3 says to use inverse operations to undo operations and isolate the variable. So pretty much we work PEMDAS backwards. Okay, we're going to start with two examples. Now these are both literal equations because we have more than one variable. The left one says solve for d, c equals pi times diameter. If you remember, this is an equation for a circle. So I'm trying to get the d by itself. If I look at it, I know pi and the d are multiplying together, so that means I need to divide out the pi. So then I'm left with d is equal to c divided by pi. And that would be my final answer. Now if I look at the one on the right, it says solve for r. It's d equals r times t. I want to get that r by itself. And I know the r and the t are multiplying together. So just like in the previous example, if I'm multiplying, I undo that using division. I'm going to divide out the t on both sides. And then with r is equal to d divided by t. And that would be my final answer. Okay, here's another formula. It says solve for h. Area is equal to 1/2 base times height. This is actually the equation for the area of a triangle. So you can start in a few different places here. We have that 1/2 that we have to get rid of. So pretty much on this side over here, we're dividing by 2. I always like to get rid of my fractions first. So if we're dividing by 2, I have to undo that by multiplying by 2. So I'm going to multiply both sides by 2. That cancels out this 2 and this 2. So then what I'm left with is 2 times a is equal to 1 base times height. We know that 1 out front doesn't really matter, so if you want to turn this into 2a is equal to bh, or base times height, you can. So remember, I'm still trying to solve for h, so now I have b stuck with h, and the b and the h are multiplying together. To undo that, I need to divide by b. So what I'm left with is h is equal to 2a divided by b. Okay, this is a little bit more challenging. We're asked to solve for e. So I have w minus 10e over m on the right side there. So if I'm thinking PEMDAS, I can see that this whole thing up top here is being divided by m. So if I'm dividing that whole thing by m, I need to multiply m out on both sides to get rid of it. So I'm going to multiply that m out to get rid of it. So then I'm left with m times s is equal to w minus 10e. Now remember, I'm still trying to get e by itself. If I'm working order of operations backward, the 10 and the e are stuck together. So I have to move the w first. It's a positive w, so I'm going to subtract it if it's positive. So now I have ms minus w is equal to negative 10e. Now I'm left with a negative 10e on the right side. The negative 10 and the e are multiplying together, so I'm going to divide by negative 10 on both sides. Cancel that out there. Then my final answer is e is equal to ms minus w divided by negative 10. Alright, a couple more examples. So these two ask you to solve for y. Excuse me. These two should both look familiar. These are both examples of linear equations, something we'll be reviewing later on. So if I want to solve for y in the one on the left, I need to get rid of the x first. Since it's a positive 2x, I'm going to subtract 2x from both sides. That leaves me with 7y is equal to 14 minus 2x. And now my 7 and my y are multiplying together, so I have to divide by 7 on both sides. So that leaves me with y is equal to, so I first do 14 divided by 7, that gives me 2. And then this negative 2x divided by 7 here doesn't simplify to anything else nicely, so I'm going to leave it as minus 2/7 x. And that would be my final answer. Now let's look at the right. Start the same way. We got to move that x first, and the 3x is, or the 3 is stuck to the x. It's a positive 3x, so I'm going to subtract 3x. Let's get that written a little bit better there. I'm going to subtract 3x from both sides. So that leaves me with a negative y is equal to 27 minus 3x. Now don't forget about that negative in front of the y. There's a 1 hiding there. You have to divide both sides by a negative 1. So that leaves me with y is equal to negative 27. And then I have a negative 3x divided by a negative 1. So that makes it a positive 3x. Okay, these two s's to solve for x. So the one on the right, and I'm including another fraction one because a lot of kids struggled with problems last year that dealt with fractions on the benchmark, so I want to make sure you guys have some good examples. So if I'm solving for x, I have negative 6 equals negative 3/10 x. Well, we're dividing by 10 on the right side there, so I'm going to multiply by 10 right away on both sides, and that gets rid of the 10 here and here. So on the left side, I have 10 times negative 6, which is negative 60. I still have this negative 3 here, so negative 3x. And now the negative 3 is just multiplying with x, so we can divide that out. So I have x, and now if I do negative 60 divided by negative 3 is equal to 20. Same thing on the right. No fractions though, I'm trying to get x by itself, so I need to move this 7 first. It's positive, so I'm going to subtract it. I get 2x is equal to negative 20. And the 2 and the x are multiplying together, so I'm going to divide it. And I get x is equal to negative 10. Sometimes you'll get fractions or decimals for your answers, and that's okay too. Alright, one more. So this one has an extra step. We have parentheses, so we know we have to distribute first. Again, this was a really common error on your formative assessment. Don't forget about the 1 that's hiding here. Okay, so this 5 is going to come down. I'm going to distribute that negative 1 through. So 5 and then negative 1 times 2x is minus 2x. Negative 1 times 4 is minus 4, and that's all equal to 8. Now I can combine like terms. So this 5 and this minus 4 can go together. So that leaves me with 1 minus 2x is equal to 8. Now this is a two-step equation, which means there's 2 more steps to solve. That 1 is a positive 1, so I need to take away 1 from both sides. I'm left with negative 2x is equal to 7. The 2 and the x, or excuse me, the negative 2 and the x are multiplying together. To undo that, I divide by negative 2. If you want to, you can leave this as a fraction as negative 7/2. If you like a decimal, you get negative 3.5. Hope this helps with your homework. So your next step is the in-class practice, and then you'll get the homework towards the end of class. Email me with any questions. Thanks.